Hi everyone, I'm back with another Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. video. This is on last week's episode called Nothing Personal. I'm not sure if there's a new episode tonight. I'll be checking that later on. But this definitely is one of the better episodes that I've seen in the last few. There's been this sort of build-up with the storylines, and it's sort of like we're at sort of a pause moment right here. I just wanted to remind everyone watching that I'm going to be talking about the episode in depth, and there's going to be spoilers. So if you're planning on seeing the episode, you haven't already, please don't watch right now, because I'm going to be talking about stuff that happened in detail. So yeah, there's been this sort of progression storyline involving Ward and the discovery that he is in fact with the bad guys, and that's Garrett. Who is turns out to be the clairvoyant, but is really just basically a member of Hydra working for S.H.I.E.L.D. And they're working together to acquire assets and weapons from the S.H.I.E.L.D. storage facility called the Fridge. And Garrett has dispatched Ward to come back to the agents and try and get the all the data on the hard drive, on Skye's custom encrypted hard drive. It needs to be decoded, and which means that she has to do it, which means he has to go and pretend to still be a good guy. But in the end of the last episode, she discovered that he had murdered the Patton Oswalt character, and that he actually was Hydra, but she decides to go along with it and pretend like she doesn't know anything to try and get the upper hand on what's happening there. So that whole sort of progressive storyline has sort of come to something of a conclusion at this point. And I don't know how many more episodes we have in the series. I have no idea. Really don't. I think this is like episode 15 or 16. I'm not really sure. The beginning of the episode is probably my favorite part of the whole thing. We have a scene with Maria Hill, who's played by Colby Smulders, of course. She has a lot of the really great lines in this episode, and her little conversation to another character at the beginning is just like, every single line that she says in there is really awesome. She meets up with Matilda May, who is talking with her about Coulson and how he needs her help because Coulson doesn't trust May anymore. She's talking about Fury, and Maria Hill says, no, Fury's dead, of course, and Melinda May says, I'll believe that when I see it. So that's cool. She's suspicious that Fury's still around, still kicking. The previous episode had her looking for someone named Maria. They just said the name Maria, and I was just like, who is that? And then at the beginning of the episode, I'm like, oh, right, Maria, of course. How could I forget about that? But she is a prominent character in the series. She only pops up every once in a while. That's why I didn't remember. This is a pretty intense episode as far as what was happening with Skye. The last episode, Coulson and a few of the other members of the gang, they go off to take care of some other mission, and it just sort of felt like they were, marking time. The show is sort of like sort of treading water, waiting for the big stuff to happen. There was nothing like that in this episode, which was pretty cool. Skye is on the bus, the big plane with Ward, and they're traveling basically to go get the drive decrypted, or so Ward thinks. And Skye's got to maintain this sort of demeanor of, hey, everything's cool, and Ward's really cool and what have you. So and she isn't entirely successful. And I'm a little surprised that Ward didn't pick up on that every once in a while. It's just like, her smile looks a little insincere, a little bit fake. You're not as good as reading people, Ward, as you thought, because it isn't until they get to the diner to decode the drive that he suspects that something is wrong. And at that point, she doesn't feel as strong a need to pretend anymore, because of course she's used her laptop to alert the cops to the fact that Ward is here and he's a fugitive, so that they can get arrested and he can be stopped. But of course that doesn't happen right. A couple of complaints. The cops didn't seem to bring any guns when they came to arrest Ward and Skye. There's a lot of hand-to-hand combat, but in no time does a cop pull his gun and try and shoot either of them. What's up with that? And also, when Talbot arrives at the darn it, what's the name of that place? Providence. Sorry, yeah, the secret bunker called Providence. He only seemed to bring like 4 guys with him. What's up with that, huh? Why did he only bring 4 soldiers with him? That's crazy. He gets there, of course, because Marie let him know where the base was. and he wants to interrogate Coulson. He wants to interrogate all his guys. And when Coulson tells Maria, hey, you know what, Ward is Hydra, and he's with Skye, and we need to figure out where they're going and help them. So Maria's like, okay, we'll ditch Talbot. Boom, 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 boom. They kick all those guys and punch them and knock them out, and then they take off. And there's a really good scene where she and Triplet are sitting in the cockpit of a plane facing off with Ward. And again, Maria Hill has great dialogue here when she's scolding him about being evil and being a murderer and what have you. She says it all really well. I didn't write down too many of her lines, but it's pretty cool. And giving Coulson time, of course, to sneak up into the plane so he can rescue Skye. And of course, they jump into the car, the convertible that they call Lola, and jump out the back and make it eventually to the ground while Ward and oh, come on, Mike Peterson, yeah, Deathlock are shooting at them. So yeah, that's that whole sequence of events was really a lot of fun. Another quibble, where did they park the bus? If S.H.I.E.L.D. agents are all fugitives, then how did Ward manage to land the bus in an actual airstrip with other people around if all the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are supposed to be, you know, under arrest or what have you? That didn't make a lot of sense. Ward keeps telling Skye in the diner, you know, look, we need you to decrypt this drive so we can go rendezvous with the others. And Skye says, I heard you twice the first time. That was a fun one. Yeah, and her whole business there where she's talking about Garrett and how he said that he had shot him, how Ward said that he had shot Garrett. And he's just like, what would you tell him if he was here now? Would you tell him what a lying scumbag he is? And eventually Ward catches on that she's actually talking about him. That was a nice little bit. When Coulson and the gang are about to leave and they hear the alarm sound that the army with Talbot is on their way, he says, well, first he says, oh, we got a location on Skye. Finally some good news. Rain. Oops, I should have knocked on wood. That was a fun one. What else? Oh yeah, when Lola descends, from the sky, from the plane, there's a whole lot of advertising on the buildings around them. I think that was in LA actually. It looked like Vegas for a second though because of all the billboards and signage everywhere, but it's actually LA. The last scene in the hotel where Coulson's talking with Maria Hill, he asked her about more secret bases of Furies. And she's like, there are no more secret bases. There's no more Fury. And Coulson doesn't tell her that he knows that Fury is still alive. I was wondering why that is. Because once they got on base into Providence, you know, obviously they were guided there by Fury. At least that was their working theory. And of course, Patton Oswalt, once he arrives, tells Coulson, but nobody else, Fury's still alive. So why doesn't Coulson tell Hill that he knows that Fury is still alive? I don't get that. Because she's like, there's no Fury, and he doesn't even bother to correct her. Unless Maria Hill doesn't know that Fury is still alive. I don't know why she wouldn't know that. You'd think that he would have let her know, but that didn't happen. I don't know. And at the end of the episode, Skye is telling Coulson, I left them a little present when I decrypted the drive. So in the new episode, whatever it is, Peterson and Ward are going to have to deal with whatever Skye is, whatever bug Skye is left in their system. So that'll be fun. Oh, and the very last scene, of course, when Coulson watches the video and sees that it is he himself who has insisted that his own memory be wiped and that anyone who has participated in the TE program have their memory wiped because of all the side effects. He sits there looking at the video and kind of goes, huh. And that reminded me, of course, of the very first episode of Firefly in which Captain Mal opens up the big box that Simon has brought with him and sees River there lying in this suspension chamber. And he just looks at her and goes, huh. It was like, well, that's familiar. But really good episode, really fun episode, exciting, lots of good dialogue. Overall, I enjoyed it quite a bit. So yeah, that was Nothing Personal, and there's going to be a new episode tonight, I hope. I'll have to check on that. And if you want to come over to my Facebook page and let me know what you thought of the episode yourself, for example, Mr. EJ, that would be great. I'd love to hear about that. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next week with another Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. video. Later.